Go ahead, do it now, and we'll.
Troubles in West Virginia, Greenbrier County, Fayette County, and your EPA folks on the ground have been very helpful in the water quality testing. And, you know, it kind of reminds me of what the core functions of the EPA are, and those are important functions, and I appreciate that kind of work. My concern is that there are a number of actions and activities of the agency, the EPA, that I simply can't agree with. I'm very familiar with what I believe and so many others believe is the agency overreach as it comes to the Buffalo Mountain Project, the Spruce Mountain, the Spruce Mine Project. It's just incredible to me that you can have a core issued permit and then turn around and have the EPA retroactively, effectively veto it. And both of these projects and so many others, and the message coming out from this EPA and their actions are having candidly a devastating impact on my state and my people. This is real. As you well know, I'm sure, we've got 9,000 jobs in West Virginia just in the last few years that have been impacted to, in my opinion, a large degree, but I don't think anybody would dispute at least some degree by the actions and behaviors of the EPA. And I'm glad you're nodding your head. I think,
I'm listening.
Well, okay, I'm hoping that the nodding was meaning you agree. But I'm very troubled. Our production is down 20% in just the last few years, and now you are proposing a water rule and a power plan that is going to exacerbate the unemployment, the underemployment on the people of West Virginia. And I simply can't, support. Here is, as a new member of Congress, is what I get, which is a justification of appropriation. This is your justification, supposedly, for what I call your war on coal. And it is a war on coal, and it's a war on the jobs of the people of West Virginia. You know, you went on your listening tour, but you didn't come to West Virginia. And you were challenged yesterday by the congressman from Ohio. Just simply asked, would you come to my state? You could not bring yourself to saying, yes, I'll come to Ohio. So let me just ask you, will you come to West Virginia?
So let me...
And I saw how you worked with Congressman yesterday. Just simply, will you come to West Virginia to hear the voices of the people of our state of the impact on the coal and water plan and rules that you've got for our state? Will you come to West Virginia personally?
Sir, my answer is the same as yesterday, is that we've done extensive outreach. We've had hearings all over the U.S. If there is a stakeholder group that I have not heard from or that you think was precluded from commenting, we're happy to address that issue.
The stakeholders that I care about are the hardworking men and women of West Virginia. It's incredible to me that the administrator wants to go off and meet with groups. Why don't you want to meet with the people? Meet with the people of West Virginia. Look at that coal miner in the eye. That coal miner may not be with a stakeholder group, but they've got to put food on their table each and every day, and that hard-working miner needs to get government off its back. So what I'm asked to do as an appropriator now is say, do I agree with your justification for your budget? So let me ask you, number one, does your budget, if we approve as requested, give you the third largest budget in EPA history?
I don't know how it's clarified, sir, how it ranks.
Okay. The next question then.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, great.
That was a good one.
Well, good. Does your budget propose $58 million increase to fund the President's Climate Action Plan?
Just short of 58.
Okay. This budget increase proposal increases your budget by almost $500 million.
Yes.
But it also cuts, does it not? It cuts out $54 million from the state revolving funds program.
As opposed to 2015 enacted, but it's a significant increase over the presidential request.
And your budget sets forth that you are not growing the number of FTE workers, but instead what you actually are doing, while you take pride in maybe not growing your employment, you actually are asking for funding for the lawyers to carry out the regulatory and the legal challenges that you're faced with, are you not?
That's not correct, sir.
Well, so you are not asking for new money. I think it was $27 million to fund a new FTE lawyers.
That's correct.
Okay, well.
But I wanted to explain. EPA has shrunk its workforce significantly because of budget constraints. We are trying to hire to keep our work moving forward. The lawyers you're referring to are not specifically dedicated to rulemakings. We have identified that in order to serve the public, including the business community, that our ability to assess the legal viability of permits and other things, it is necessary to have more legal staff to be able to get a job done in a variety.
Well, I don't want to fund more lawyers to defend what I believe is the overreach and improper action. Last question.
Yep.
Yesterday, I was stunned. You said, quote, "In the data we see, job loss is not a consequence of an environmental rule." In the data we see, job loss is not a consequence of an environmental rule. So you're saying the actions of your agency and environmental rules have no impact on job losses?
I do not know whether what specific quote you're using, but I indicated that we do a thorough analysis of costs and benefits for our major rules.
Well, let me ask you just simply, I know my time's limited. Let me just simply ask you, because I've got the audio for it, and I would play it for the speaker right now. You said, quote, "In the data we see, job loss is not a consequence of an environmental rule." And that, to me, showed an incredible lack of sensitivity and awareness and concern about the actions of this agency, because if you go into your rulemaking process with an attitude, nothing we do impacts jobs, then we don't care about jobs, and I do. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
You may want to listen to the rest of the conversation, sir, because we care deeply about economic implications and jobs. Care deeply about it.
We thank